Hi, Homeworthy. I'm Lauren Leese.
And I'm David Leese.
And welcome to the Dune House in the Outer Banks, North Carolina.
Come on in.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story. To shop items inspired by this and other Homeworthy episodes, be sure to check out the product links below for amazing furniture, accessories, and more.
Hi, I'm David Leese.
And I'm Lauren Leese, and we are in the Outer Banks, North Carolina in the Dune House, and we are so excited to show you around. I'm an interior designer, and Dave runs the design business, and we also flip houses. So we decided we wanted to redo some houses down in the Outer Banks and flip them and or rent them out. So Dune House was our very first Outer Banks renovation project that was not intended for our family. We have 5 kids, 3 boys and 2 little girls.
Do you remember their ages?
I do remember their ages, but it's just easier to say they range from 7 to 17.
I've been coming to the Outer Banks since I was 12 years old. I first got invited down, and I did not know this was also Lauren's beach town.
So I've been coming down here since I was probably 7 or 8. Both of us would go to Kerala, and we always spent 1 week. I think you guys were lucky enough to have 2 weeks in the Outer Banks ever since we were little kids. And so this was always our beach town, our beach area. And so I don't know how many years, for however many years we've been married, which at this point I can't quite remember, but we always said that we would buy a beach house in the Outer Banks. That was sort of our big dream. And for many years we just sort of perused real estate listings and would pretend that we were going to buy a house until, one weekend we finally drove down and got a little beach house. And it was a tiny beach shack, and we renovated it.
We found it online.
Found it online.
And we made an offer sight unseen.
Yes, sight unseen, and it looked like a really good deal when we saw it, which is what you have to be after when you're flipping. And we knew it was right on the ocean.
But you have to move fast.
You gotta move fast.
So it was a little scary.
Very scary. So we made an offer, and it was accepted, I think, within an hour.
Yep. And
suddenly we were looking at the fact that we owned a beach house we'd never been to before. And so we brought our 5 kids down, I think like the next weekend, to see what exactly we'd purchased. And when we got here, I think the deck was the biggest thing. The deck had fallen off the back of the house. I think someone had put like a baby pool on it, and there had been water damage. So it was in an extreme condition, because that's how you'd say it. And so it needed a lot of work, had a lot of water damage, but the bones were beautiful. And when we walked in the front door, it was just amazing. We could see that there were stairs when you first walked in the front door, sort of blocking the view, but we knew if we could figure out how to move those stairs, that you would walk in the front door and just get this 180 view of the water and the dunes. So we were very happy.
And I was thrilled. The house is on 10 by 10 pilings.
Yep.
So I knew even though the decking and some of the siding had been damaged, this house was so solid.
So this is our front entry, and one of the only original things in the entire house that we kept is the front door. I love the patina on it, love the finish, and could not bring myself to replace it.
It's not easy to make it work, considering how old it is.
It might leak a little sometimes.
A little bit, but it's totally worth it when you walk up and see that door knocker.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
It's a pretty one. This is the dining room, and it was once actually just a massive stair area. Originally, when we first saw the house, you would walk in the front door and into a large set of stairs here. And this ceiling that you're seeing was actually not there because of the stairs. You couldn't see the ocean. So one of the first things that we knew we had to do in the house was to figure out how to get these stairs out of here. So we took the stairs and we moved them over here. And with all of this extra space, we were able to add a loft above this area and create a really nice long dining space for the front entry.
And now when you walk in, the ocean is front and center.
Yes, you walk in and you just see those views. And right now is one of my favorite times of the year here because the sea oats are out and they're just blowing in the wind and they're beautiful. Love it, love it.
I thought you were going to say it's your favorite time of year because the ocean's angry.
The angry ocean is very pretty too.
In the winter and the fall, it gets pretty rough.
Yeah. So I anchored the space with a big, long, earthy oak table and then mid-century wishbone chairs around it. And because we didn't want to block the view when you first walk in the house, I wanted something massive for the space, but I needed something that wasn't going to block the view. So I went with this raffia piece here. It's massive, but also very sculpturally light. And this is one of those elements throughout the house. You'll see a lot of woven materials. I put them in every single one of the rooms. It's perfect. We have the sea oats outside, all the natural grasses around here. So raffia and jute and all those natural materials just work really, really well in this environment. Now we're gonna take you to the great room. It's the heart of the home. It has these amazing 180 views. It was the reason we fell in love with the house, and we cannot wait to show you around. This area is vaulted, and so it's a 2-story space, which is really incredible. And we have 2 stories of windows, which is amazing because you can see the ocean, the dunes, the sky, and it just, is captivating and why we fell in love with the place. I will show you over here. We'll start with this fireplace. Pulled out the original tile, and you will see this raw terracotta throughout the house. It's just a really simple 4x4 tile. And David, do you want to explain the captain, Captain Herndon?
Captain Herndon. We don't actually know if it's Captain Herndon.
We
call him Captain Herndon because we found him when we lived in the town of Herndon, and the town of Herndon was named after Captain Herndon, and This is what we imagine he looked like.
He was at our local thrift store, and I loved him. And this was before we even had a beach house, so we've saved him for many years if we ever had a beach house. So we feel like Captain Herndon has finally found his home here.
I've moved him around storage units for like 10 years before he finally found a wall.
Yeah, he's super kitsch, and that is the thing I really love about what we were kind of doing in this house. I didn't want the house to be serious. I wanted it to be playful and fun and kitschy. And so we love having him in sort of a more important place because he is kind of a family joke. So it makes us very happy.
It's not a joke.
He's not a joke. Captain Herndon is not a joke. I shouldn't have said that.
Serious.
These chairs, Dave is always trying to get me to get rid of these chairs. I'm obsessed with them. They're mid-century, and
Careful.
He always thinks I'm going to break them. They don't break. They're really, really comfortable. I love them. They put you at a great lounging angle. I can't even remember where I found those, but probably at some antique shop somewhere. Here you can see we have some of the pampas grass from outside, and we brought it in throughout the house. It's so nice just to be able to cut it. We'll take you guys over here, and this is one of my favorite sofas. It's probably yours too. This is called the Glad sofa. It's from my collection with Taylor King, and we named it that because you're happy and you're glad when you're in it. It's super deep. We wanted a sofa that could really handle mess and
You always find a kids laying like this.
Yes, they're always just like right on top of there. Cushions are usually flattened down, and I think they look good when they're rumpled. That was something that was important to us when designing the house. We knew the house was going to get messed up and have a lot of guests, have a lot of kids in it. So we picked things that looked good when they do get hit with life. Definitely the sofa gets hit with a lot over here. It's a soft, kind of pinky tone, and you will see throughout the house, the palette of this house is soft peachy pink and soft pinks, soft sand colors, because we are right on the dunes here in Duck, North Carolina. And what I love about the sand here in Duck is that it has sort of like a pinky tone to it. All the beaches are a little bit different, but this one has a little bit of peach in it and pink. So I pulled that out for things like the upholstery, the trim, the kitchen cabinetry, the tile, the rug, which is the pinkest of the pink. This is a crazy vintage pink rug here that I just loved, layered on top of a jute rug to get that really natural vibe going on. The jute is from our collection with Rugs USA.
You proved you can do any color.
Yeah, I was excited to get to do pink in here. That was fun. This coffee table here is by my friend Leanne Ford for Crate and Barrel. And we also love it because you will find kids actually on top of it. It cannot be hurt, and we love that. Another thing I wanted to do here with having such a large sofa was to really anchor the space, because you have, the lower area here for the dining room and then this 2-story space here. So this sofa really sort of acts as an anchor and also a separator between the 2 spaces. So to do that, to get some more heft, I went with chunky lamps, chunkier side tables. These are from my collection with Woodbridge Furniture. And they're in that really nice sort of driftwood finish where it's very raw looking. And there's a little bit of paint crusted up in there, so you really can't hurt them, which I love. Practicality. All right, let's head around to the other side of the room.
Your favorite space?
Yes, my favorite space, my favorite spot, which is this woven leather chase here. I for some reason feel the need to actually lay in to show you how comfortable it is. But this thing is so comfortable. Just kind of relax in it. It's woven leather. There is sunscreen on it. People enjoy it. Salt water. It has already gotten pretty messed up, but I think
bathing suits.
Yeah, bathing suits, but wet bathing suits. But I think the longer it kind of ages and gets patina, it'll just get better and better. And then this is a really fun lamp here. It's a great spot for reading. I mean, today is actually kind of one of those cloudier days. It's just a really good spot to kind of sit and be alone when there are kind of a lot of people being loud, as the family usually is. It's nice to have a little getaway area over there. It took me a long time to make a decision on this light because it is in such an important focal position. And I wanted something large, but I didn't want something that would block the view when you were upstairs. So I finally found this one. It is this crazy layered metal piece. And while it is massive, you can see right through it. It was really important for me to keep the views unobstructed. So this piece fit the bill, and I'm so excited that we found it.
So one thing you won't notice in here, and this is true of a lot of your living rooms, is there's no TV. That's not the point of this place. The point of this place is to interact with nature and each other.
Yeah, you have your view, you have your entertainment right out there. And so yeah, I typically don't love to put TVs in living rooms because I feel like it keeps things more social, more activity focused. But I can't say I have the best TV habits because we always put one in the bedroom, and I know that's like such a no-no. So there are TVs in some of the bedrooms for movie watching. As a family, we somehow always all end up in a bedroom, like snuggling up and watching a movie, but I feel like we use living spaces mostly for having fun. So these chairs are some of the coziest in the house. They are from my collection with Taylor King, and they are machine washable slipcovers. So must have in a busy beach house if we actually have had issues and they do just go right in the wash and they come out good as new. But they are a slightly off-white. That's something else I do. I like to use materials and fabrics that read as white to the eye but aren't actually a technical white. So they are a bit more forgiving, but you still get that white slipcover vibe.
I'll either wake up early and I'll look out the window at the surf and see what the swell is like, or I will get woken up, Dad, there's a good wave today.
Yeah.
And so I love that. It's a lot easier than having to walk down the beach or check the surf report. So it's a really nice feature.
It's really nice. It's also weirdly hard to stop staring at. Like as you're talking, I was like, oh, it's so pretty. So
it's mesmerizing.
It is. I think that's why this house is so special. You are filled with awe because you're just, the ocean's right there.
I read in a book it like reduces your blood pressure.
He's making fun of me. In my book Beach Life, I write all about that, and so he's making fun of me now. I talk about that. Now you're holding. But yeah, it does. It creates awe, and
it's amazing.
It's good for you to have that. It was a doozy of a renovation, though, I would say. Things move slower at the beach. That's something we've noticed with doing lots of projects down here. The timeline is a little bit stretched at the beach because, if the weather's good, it's a good day to go surfing.
All of our renovations required pulling out some of the walls and pulling out some drywall, and we found local juniper that matches perfectly. So half of this is original juniper. I'm not going to tell you which half, but half of this is the original juniper and half of it is brand new.
Yeah, some of it was water damaged and destroyed. So I guess you can guess which side of the house that was on, but there was a lot of water damage.
But there was a lot that we were able to save, and then there was some where we moved structure where there was drywall, and so we had to repair.
Yeah.
But it turned out amazing.
Yeah, the juniper was great. And this is kind of a quirky house. It kind of reminds me of a boat. I don't know, it's definitely got an 80s vibe to it for sure. It was built in the 80s. And I don't know, something about that sort of like vintage 80s vibe. I've been coming here since I was a kid. He's been coming here since he was a kid. And so it just had that good feeling. I don't know, it's very spacious. When the kids visit, when they would come and we were in the renovations, it's just so much space. And it's hard to find an affordable beachfront home with this much space. It was definitely a good find, for sure. And so many of these houses are made for, families and friends visiting. And so we love the way the bedrooms were split up. There's a first floor primary suite, and then upstairs We have 2 king bedrooms, a bunk room, and a little trundle bedroom. So it really fits a crowd. I mean, you can get multiple families in here, which we thought would be great for potential renters and that kind of thing. So it really works well.
It doesn't do your kind of pitfall for beach houses.
That's my pitfall. I have a pitfall.
You have a pitfall for a lot of beach houses. The kitchen being on the top floor.
Oh yeah. I love a lot of the beach houses. The kitchen is upstairs because you have the prettiest views, but I'm a little lazy when I'm outside and coming in. So I love it when we find a beach house that has the kitchen on the main level. Easier for loading groceries, and I love to get outside as quickly as possible from the kitchen. So yeah, it had that. I was very excited about that. Now we're gonna head to the kitchen, so follow me. Here it is, this massive peninsula, which we absolutely love for a big crowd. There's 4 bar stools and everyone seems to gather around this area. And if you come on here, the interesting thing about this kitchen is that this actually used to be the dining room. We spend a ton of time in the kitchen, I do especially, and so I wanted the kitchen to be in the back of the house to get those great ocean views. It's a nice big kitchen, which is great because it stores a lot of dishes, a lot of pots and pans, a lot of everything. So we have the large peninsula here. The center of the kitchen is one of my favorite pieces in the house, besides the chase, of course, is this old antique English island. It's just a nice work table, and I got it for a really good deal, which makes me love it even more. It has a beautiful patina on it. You cannot hurt it. You can't mess it up because it's already messed up. I love that. So I do a lot of prep here. One of the things I love to do in here is put a cheese board out when we're cooking, and the family just loves cheese and crackers and charcuterie. So kind of pop that on here and everyone can sort of pick and eat as we prepare to eat, which I guess, Italian is kind of what we do. So I'll kind of take you functionally through the kitchen. Over here, I like to take the refrigerator, which I don't usually think of as the most pretty thing in the kitchen, and I put it sort of out of the way. So I put it all the way here on this elevation. And then we did a large bank of windows here and centered the sink on it. And as you come this way, you can see that we used the exact same tile, the raw terracotta tile that we used on the fireplace in here as the backsplash. And I did that to connect the spaces and to keep it feeling really calm. So the tile floor in here is actually a faux stone. It's a porcelain, and it's very, very close in color to our hardwood floors, which are oak. And so I didn't want a massive transition when you went from one space to the other, but I did imagine renters in this house, and I thought that the porcelain would just be a very practical, easy to clean solution for a kitchen that was gonna see a lot of people. So in this room, which has this sort of pale, peachy pink cabinetry, I wanted to make sure that it didn't go too sweet. So I did that by adding things like this massive wood island. You've got these hefty bowls that are really different and a little bit more stronger and masculine than the sort of peachy pink. So kind of putting things with their opposites makes them more interesting. The range here, I love to take a range and center it on a focal wall. And so the range and the hood have become the focal piece for this wall here. And it is flanked by identical sets of cabinetry. These are glass, and what's really cool about them is you can see we took the tile, the same raw terracotta tile that is on the fireplace over there, we took that tile, repeat it in here for cohesiveness, and then also put it behind the glass here, which is a really cool little textural element. Makes me disproportionately happy, but I really love it. This trick here, this is just really simple. It is painted drywall for our hood. It's one of the most inexpensive range hoods you can do, and I do it a lot. When we first got this house, we were thinking about it with resale and rental in mind, so I didn't want to break the bank on a really expensive hood, so this is a trick I use a lot here. So this is a great kitchen to cook in. It's nice to have all this space. We always say that we feel, like a place really feels like home once we kind of bomb the kitchen and make a huge mess. One of the things we love to cook here down in the Outer Banks, we love to do boils. And I also love to make clam chowder. So I think the last time I cooked in this kitchen was a huge pot of clam chowder. I had to freeze half of it because I made so much for probably like 20 of us. So I just love kind of making a huge mess in here and just cooking up a storm, having everybody come in from the beach, and we can kind of all hang out and chill and eat. It's an easy kitchen to function in because we've got the sink on one wall, the range on the other, the little prep island, and then this peninsula is where we do a lot of our entertaining, a little set of drinks, and we actually can have people eat here too, which is really, really nice. The lighting in here has sort of a little mid-century vibe to it. We've got these spheres here. So we've got this sphere, which has a little raffia above it, and then we have the plain spheres, which we use as flush mat lighting throughout the kitchen. Another of my favorite lighting elements is spotlights. I love spotlights, especially in the kitchen when you have something pretty to highlight. So I clearly was obsessed with the tile and the glass and the fact that you could see through it. So I had those lit up with spotlights to direct right on them. And then over here is one of my favorite little corners. We did a simple floating shelf here and just put a little horse painting. There are wild horses around here, so you'll see a lot of horse pictures and paintings. And then that just has a really simple sort of crackled porcelain sconce above it. These stools are great. Again, they're adding that woven element that I love so much, and they are from Pottery Barn. All right, now let's head into the family room.
Now, getting into the family room was quite the predicament we found ourselves in. Moving the stairs became really a situation, and so we had to figure out how to still access this room and still have enough rise and run to get up the stairs onto a second floor. And so we did some real tight.
I know, I was like, I think we can do it, but we had to kind of shift here. This was the original kitchen in here, and we
managed to make a door big enough and the stairs clear it so
Yes.
we can get up to the second floor, but it was no small feat without pushing in and shrinking the new kitchen.
So we had this leftover space here, and we knew that the house would function better with a little family room. Should we take you in? Oh, this door. You should tell them about
Yes.
the door. This is a fun door.
And so we couldn't have a real door swinging, covering up the mechanical room, swinging into the room, taking up all the space in the room. So Lauren came up with the idea of a barn door. And the idea was to put the juniper that's on the walls on the door. And so we made this door, and then we just put it on a regular old barn track, and we solved all the problems just like that. Plus, the design-wise, it doesn't draw too much attention.
I love that he
It
knows
looks
this.
like all the other walls.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I wanted to be able to close this door and tuck away mess, also tuck away the volume of the kids that would be getting stuck in this room when we go hang out here.
We had a lot of fun. Well, the guys had a lot of fun making this feel as much like an old ship as we could. And so Lauren has this trick where she paints the drywall black before we put the wood treatment on. So we make these gaps, and uneven gaps, different lengths and different sizes.
I just kind of tell the guys, I'm like, you can mess up or drink a little bit before you do this room because we do not want perfection in here. And so they did a good job.
And the black comes through and it makes it really, really look good.
I wanted it to have sort of a, like Walrus and the Carpenter from Alice in Wonderland, just kind of like really quick, kind of sea shanty vibe. Not sea shanty, I would be singing yo-hos in here. I wanted to have sort of a really, yo-ho. I'm sorry, I told you sometimes I get weird. I'm sure I stop. I wanted it to have just sort of a really casual kind of sea shack vibe in here. And I think they did a great job. This art behind us, this is kind of fun. So it's a mix of vintage and antique and also downloads from Etsy. We were thinking of selling and or renting the house, and so we really couldn't spend a lot of money on artwork. So a bunch of these are actually just downloads, and then I bought a bunch of vintage frames and we framed them in
We also
these frames.
mixed ships and horses because we're in the Outer Banks. And when we started coming to the Outer Banks, the horses would be in your trash if you left the lid open.
Yeah, I know. We're it's not as wild as it used to be, but the horses are still here.
Life hack, those shades, right?
Oh yeah, this is a good thing. I feel like the world needs to know you don't always have to spend a lot of money on custom window treatments.
You just tell me you want whatever standard size, and then I just roll them up and take a circle saw and I just chop off the edges.
So they are not custom size. We buy the closest size to the window, and then Dave just saws them down. Sometimes we even use scissors because the matchstick is just so flimsy. I can just kind of cut through it. And so we saved a lot of money on that. These are, I don't know, like $20 or $30 each. So Good little savings tip there. This little hanging light is one of my favorite things. It just has that kind of raw, casual vibe to it. And it's a great little reading light for this corner of the sectional, which I might add is IKEA. And it is great in the space. It fit almost perfectly. And what we did to make it a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more luxe, was we took the original back cushion inserts out and put down cushions in there. Because again, I like it when the cushions are down and they kind of look good when they get messed up. And then layered it in with a bunch of vintage and new pillows, just different stripes, some browns, earth tones, and a little bit of that pale pink again. And the sofa itself is a deep charcoal color. I definitely wanted something in here that was dark. Food does come in here, so I did not want to worry at all about that. And it's just been a really cozy little hangout spot to watch movies and curl up. The rugs, again in here, we did the layering. It's a base jute rug from my collection with Rugs USA. And then the top rug is a vintage rug, again with pink and earth tones in it. And we have this concrete coffee table. You'll see a lot of these sort of glasses with the woven netting around them. They're from our shop, and I just love them, so put a bunch of them in the house.
The concrete table seems to have some nice patina.
I know, it looks like it's been cracked. I can't really tell. It looks fine.
Little people jumping on it? Or
Probably.
Our secret for fitting the kids on the couch is that Lauren and I aren't actually taking up seats. We are seats.
Yes, they do sit on us as well.
Usually 2 or 3.
Yeah, but we are able to fit the whole family in here on this cozy sectional. Maybe sometimes there's someone on the floor here, but yeah, it works, even though it's a tiny space. I don't know. I guess that's one of those things I noticed too, in a lot of interiors we do, is that people do tend to kind of gather in a lot of the smaller, cozy spaces. I don't know. I guess that's what humans do. I came into interior design in a sort of roundabout way. I should have realized I was into it sooner, because as a child I would rearrange my bedroom, go to my friends' houses, rearrange their rooms, and fix everyone's everything up. But no, I didn't realize it until after college. And so I got out of school and I was working in PR, but I started decorating my first apartment and realized I found that way more fun than actually doing my job. So my roommate was so patient. I repainted our dining room like 3 times, and she was very sweet to let me do all this. So I enrolled in a distance learning interior design program and started staging houses. And then I knew I wanted to open up a design business, but I wanted to start by staging with smaller jobs. And then my staging clients began hiring me to do design projects. And then the business just grew, and I hired an employee. And then at a certain point, I was hiring another one, and Dave was teaching. I don't know if you wanna...
Yeah, I was teaching and working.
High school English.
I was teaching high school English, and we were working nights on the business and weekends and then summers.
Yeah, and by this time, I think we had 3 kids at this time.
And we were like, this is just too much. It's growing. This is great. We need to hire a project manager.
Yeah.
And we went on like monster.com back then.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, this is like triple what I make as a teacher. I was like, I'm doing this.
He's like, I'm quitting.
Like, I'm in. I'm your new hire.
Yeah.
And she didn't really have a choice because we were married.
Yeah. So Dave came on as project manager and handles a lot of the back end. I say he gets the fun job of all the paperwork. And I
don't want to pick out rugs. People would not be happy.
Yeah, so then I do the design side of things, and our business has just kind of grown. Throughout that time, when I was first starting the design business before Dave had come on, we had bought a home in Northern Virginia, and the real estate market did the crash, and it was...
buy high, sell low.
Yeah, we've learned that lesson. But we ended up selling our house, and we moved into my parents' basement with our 1-year-old at the time. And I think at the time we were, I don't know, we felt terrible because we lost all this money on our home, and we had only been married a couple years. But it was probably the best thing for us because my parents were there and we had help with babysitting, and that's really when I got the design business off the ground, because we had all that help, which we never would have had living on our own. And then I started a blog at the time, and my blog was really instrumental in getting word out there and sort of getting published in magazines. I would show pictures of projects on the blog, and then magazines would reach out to me and say, hey, can we shoot this for the magazine? And I'd like flip out and be like, yes. And so getting published kept happening, and that's really how the business sort of grew. So yeah, so now we're just in the business together, and we have more employees, and we've branched into product designing, which I love. So I have a textile collection, lighting collection, rug collection, upholstery collection, case goods collection, kitchen cabinets, and a little bit of plumbing and tile. Yeah, so I'm really enjoying getting to design not just the houses, but the things that will go in the houses. And that's been really, really fun to get into.
Everyone always asks us, don't you get sick of being around each other all the time? And we say no. Like if she has a client meeting and I'm stuck in the office all day, we get back home and we're like, oh my gosh, I missed you so much today. Well, tell me about your day.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other days we get to just be together, we love it.
It's great.
I couldn't imagine not doing that.
I know. I feel so lucky to get to work together. We were also those annoying people that like to do everything together. I will say that. So we're like, yeah, if you're gonna like go to the post office, I'll drive with you and like check emails at the same time. All right, this is, you want to say it? This
Sky Lounge.
The Sky Lounge. We actually named this space. It was kind of a joke when we first got the house.
I wasn't joking.
Well, I remember it's like, it's going to be the Sky Bar, the Sky Lounge, because we pictured this really cool hangout space here where you can just completely, like when you're standing up here, you can see the ocean, but also the sky is just beautiful. So, and you're up sort of in the sky. So.
No, this space is so amazing. You're just immersed in the view. And you have a gathering space. You have this huge table. And so the kids and I love to play games on this table and hang out and enjoy the view, enjoy each other, and still have the rest of the family can be downstairs. So we still feel connected. It's pretty magical.
I can yell up here. You guys can hear me.
You guys hungry?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, this table is 5 feet wide. It's massive. It's the modern Ming from my collection with Woodbridge furniture, and the kids are on top of it a lot of times as well. Yes. And we just got to load it up with books and all things about the ocean, dogs, seashells. It's fun to be able to have a space like this where we can collect books. We sort of have a book problem in our lives. We love books. We love collecting them and reading them, and so it's nice to have such a big space that we can put our addictions on here. Again, in here we have another jute rug from my collection with Rugs USA and a vintage one on top of it. The 4 chairs surrounding this 5-foot massive table are just really simple rattan chairs with a mid-century vibe. They're very, very comfortable. They have that angle that I love that kind of sets you back. Very, very comfy. And then over in the corner, we have this cool little bar cart setup, which I love. And more pampas grass. This is from maybe a couple of years ago, so it dries very nicely.
Holds up very well.
Yeah, it does. Sometimes it's windy and it'll fly all over you though.
So this spot over here was amazing. It was actually a sauna.
Yes.
It was a 1980s sauna. It was so great. Why did we have to get rid of it?
The stairs.
I'm joking.
Oh, it's like, I do want a sauna.
It was like a 1-person, maybe like 4-foot tall person sauna though.
Yeah,
I think you could go like climb in it and just sit.
The kids loved it. It was their like a little zoo, and they would go in there and be
like,
like,
it was like a terrarium. We would put them in there and look at them.
We had to take some of the space for these stairs here, and then decided to create a little shelving niche here for all of our collections. And it's a fun little spot. It's kind of ever evolving. Things tend to move around in there when other people have stayed here, so it's good to see.
Another awesome part about the Sky Lounge, and in fact the whole living room ceiling, is, what did you call this type of, is it a wash?
Oh, so this is regular paint watered down to give it sort of a washed milk paint look. I love the shape of the ceiling, and again, the house has a quirky architectural form, but it reminds me of a boat, and especially the ceiling, and you've got the skylight, so I was very excited to get to work with that. And the ceilings originally were dark, but we had them painted to sort of lighten up the space, make it a little bit airier and a little bit more fresh.
But you can still see some wood grain come through the paint, which makes it feel so old-timey and authentic.
Yeah, I asked for a sloppy paint job, so we got one and love it. All right, now let's head to the bedroom. This is the southeast bedroom, and it is obviously on the ocean side. It has a great view. Really, really beautiful to wake up to. This is the room that we stay in when we stay here. The bedding, I went with vintage style Martha Washington quilt, and it is paired with a more modern or mid-century rattan bed. And we have our fun little "Don't Give Up the Ship" flag above the bed. The entire palette for this room was based on the rug, which is one of my rugs from my collection with Rugs USA, and it is a mix of pink and blue. And so we had a lot of fun. Went with pink walls in here. The contractors were all like, what is she doing with all this pink? But I was really excited to get to do a pink room. And I'll let you tell them about the ceiling.
So the ceiling was another safe situation where we had this beautiful juniper, but some of it was ruined, and then we built in a closet, so we had to cut into the ceiling, and so we were able to find matching juniper and stain it so you can't tell where the old...
You can kind of tell. Yes, you can totally tell, but not that badly. It was a pretty good match, I would say.
The other thing about this room that I love is sleeping with the door open and just hearing the sound of the waves.
I'm going to show you this because it's just really, really beautiful, and we just love it out here. You got to see this. There is that ocean today. It's windy and it's beautiful. And this is doing that curtain thing that I absolutely love. So you can see these are really light curtains. I love opening the door here and letting the curtains breeze in the wind. These are by Amber Lewis for Anthropology, and they're a very light cotton. And so they are the perfect beachy, blowy, breezy curtains. And they have that pink we needed in here.
So we get up early and we go for a walk on the beach, whether it's before sunrise or not.
We shoot for sunrise, but lots of times we're a little bit lazy. But we're out on the beach usually bright and early in the mornings. And so this door is great because you can just kind of open it up and check the temperature and then close it. And then mostly we just run out to the beach because it's too inviting, I would say. For nightstands, I just went with really simple oak nightstands. They have a leather handle, which I love here. And I went with very, very inexpensive lamps, and they have that cool kind of crusty pottery look, which I love. I love to take things that are a little bit earthier and more masculine and put them in a room that's pink. It's that juxtaposition that I really love that kind of makes this room for me. I kind of describe my design philosophy as down to earth, and that means that I like things natural. I love to bring in natural elements, things from the outside. I use a lot of natural fibers and real materials, and I like things relaxed and casual, clearly. I like for homes to feel welcoming and almost like an exhale, if that makes sense. The world is so crazy, so busy. I want homes to be the places where my clients can go to just sort of like flop and exhale and just sort of be. So yeah, I would say down to earth, relaxed, natural, collected, timeless. I like for interiors to stand the test of time. I don't want my clients to feel as if they have to go change out their throw pillows seasonally or change them out every year and shop all the time and buy all the time. I really like to sort of get things right and then let people really live in their home and collect things that are more meaningful and maybe personal, like artwork or accessories, that kind of thing, but not really have to mess with furniture because you went trendy on something. I really like to bring in timeless pieces.
Materials too, materials that will wear well with age.
Yep, absolutely.
So as they get used, they're only more beautiful. Not, oh my gosh, it's got scratches, now we gotta replace it.
Yeah, it is very important to us with 5 kids and 3 dogs, and our clients, a lot of them have big families too, is just things have to be able to handle the mess that life throws at them. So like these are washable slip covers. I love materials that you don't have to worry about. I think that you can really only be comfortable in a home when you know that you can't hurt it and that you can truly relax and just do your thing in it instead of worrying about, you know, messing something up or spilling, that kind of thing. So this is the northeast bedroom, mostly used as a guest bedroom, and surprise, it's pink, but with another pink room. This is a softer pink, it's a peachier pink. And one of the things I love to do when decorating, you know, at the beach, It doesn't always have to be like blue and white nautical. I love to incorporate kind of more unexpected colors and textures and patterns. So you'll see here on the bed, we have a floral quilt on the bed, but then, I paired it with a stripe in this kind of mustard color, which does feel a bit more coastal. So we had fun doing that kind of thing. And you've seen sort of these little flags throughout the house. This one is Stay Wild, Ocean Child. We found most of these on Etsy, but I did want that, again, that little bit of kitsch coming in throughout the house, that little bit of fun, because I didn't want it to feel too serious or too formal, and that does just that.
And it looks so good against the wall, but that was a happy accident.
Hey, remind what happened with this wall?
So we had the beautiful juniper, and this is one of the first rooms they did, and they just started painting it.
Oh, that was right. We were going to
like,
keep this
no,
wood.
This is supposed to be the beautiful juniper. But then you were like, you know what? No, I think I want to continue this.
Yep. So we took the pink and put it all over. And we did have them do that sort of purposefully sloppy paint job once the paint job was started. So you can kind of see the wood through it. It gives it more depth, more texture, which I love.
More sea shanty.
Yes. More sea shack. And so this bed here is from Crate and Barrel. Again, it's that light kind of pale wood. And then the 2 nightstands are from IKEA, the good old mom dresser, bolted to the wall, of course. Oh, this rug is really one of my favorite rugs. It's more of a mat, really, and it's from my collection with Rugs USA. But it's really cool because it's got this straw woven through it, and it feels really, really good on your feet. These are some of my favorite curtains from Anthropologie. I use them all the time, and that is just so romantic when it does that. And so just about the thinnest cotton you can get. That makes my heart happy. Okay, sure you guys want to move on to the next room, which is the bunk room.
All right, so this is the bunk room, and I'm very proud of the bunk room.
Yeah, it was a lot of thinking
a lot
in
of
here.
Figuring out.
Yeah.
Starting with
we have 6 beds.
We have 6 beds.
Which is a lot in one small room. And then Dave is really, it's amazing,
excited.
This window, I will say.
We got portholes. They don't actually make portholes for houses, though.
Well, they're not code because you have to be able to open.
Well, there's no jamb for
the
window. But we went to a restaurant, and we noticed that they had portholes. I was like, how did they do that? And so I walked to the outside of the building, and I realized they had a regular square window, and then they just put a porthole over the top of it. Yeah. And so that's what we did. So if you go look from the outside, you're just going to see 4 square windows. But when you look in here, you see portholes.
So each bunk has its own portal window, and you can see the ocean from all 4 of them. So even though this is on the west side of the house, you still have ocean views. So the kids can kind of curl up in here. They each have their own reading light and their own little ocean view.
And so it feels like they're looking out the bottom of a ship. And we even did...
We leaned in hard here to nautical
we figured out a rope system, and we have cleats to get them up into their bunks. Yeah, because
you really kind of need to use this to get up here. So you need something. We found that out the hard way. The kids were like, help. We're like, oh yeah, you need something. So we have a cleat to get up in here, there.
And then some awesome nautical lights.
Yeah. But then I wanted to soften it a bit with the paper, the wallpaper on the walls. We have both girls and boys. We've got all the blue, but then I did want to add this little bit of floral paper. I think it's good for the boys to live with some flowers, every now and then. All the kids have their own little spots, and when people come to visit, everyone seems to kind of find somewhere to curl up in. This room also gets used a lot for play, not even always for sleep, but there's so many games that they kind of play in their little areas. There's 6 different areas here.
And each little bed has a little reading light.
Yes.
Which is so key. So the main light can go off, but somebody can keep reading without disturbing everybody else. Yeah,
with its own little wall switch for that. So really easy. Get cozy up in here. So these curtains are fun. These are also Anthropologie. And they're blue and white, and they have these little monkeys in them. Very playful, blue on blue on blue in here. The rug is a vintage rug from our shop.
I also love how do any of the bedspreads match?
I think maybe randomly these 2 happen to, but yeah, most of them are mismatched. So cool. I love kind of doing that, mismatching quilts. It gives it a more collected feel, a more casual vibe. I think the pillows are also mismatched. And so yeah, this is a fun space. This gets used more, I would say, mostly as a playroom. And they love playing and climbing and jumping around in here. I think home for us is where we are all together, for sure. I know that's probably super basic, but I think that is the truth. It's like wherever we have all of our kids and all of our dogs and we're together, it definitely feels like home when we're all together. What would you say?
I would add a meal.
Oh, you're right. That's true.
When we prepare a meal
Yeah.
and we're all sitting down eating it together, if we prepared it at that place, it all of a sudden feels like home.
Yeah, that's
I don't
true.
know why.
That's true. We always say when we move to a new home, the first time we make our family's bolognese sauce, when the Mastronzi bolognese comes out, we're like, now it's home, because we have to blow up the kitchen, make a mess, and then it really does feel like home at that point, I would say. Bye, Homeworthy. Thanks so much for hanging out with us today.
Hope to see you guys soon.
Take care.
Thanks for watching. Go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content and shopping guides.